today. I am doing one of my favorite things to do in the game, which is making Sims. I love making the Sims that I play with in the game a lot. I always talk about when my sister and I were younger, and we used to have like this really big save game, and my sister would play with the main family, and I would be in charge of making like all of the other branches off of like the first generation. And at one point we had like, I mean, we have like 2,000 like Sims on it or something, like just from all the previous generations, and we had like 9 or 10 generations, and it was just so big. And like I made every one of those Sims. So I am here. I'm taking two of Lorelai's best friends, Yuna and Presley, and I am making them families of their own so that they can like walk around and our kids can be friends. In the video, there are a couple times that I just like pause, like the game just like run, and I don't do anything, and that's because I'm texting someone during those times, and I was like trying not to take too long, but we were having a fun conversation. It mostly is, one of my favorite things to do is fold paper cranes, and I have recently picked 950 paper cranes in the past couple of months, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can make the crane wish. And my friends and I have been like joking about like the crane wish for so long, and now that I'm actually here, I'm like kind of freaking out because what do I wish for? And then the person I was texting with was like looked it up, and they were like, well, it looks because it kind of looked like the you don't make the crane wish, but the crane wish like grants your most desired wish. So that made it sound like it doesn't matter what you wish for, because the cranes like already know what you want, and they'll like make it happen. That was a really interesting concept, but I think that the thing that I was going to wish for, which I kind of like halfway already have done like myself already, is like still gonna kind of apply to that. That'll be fun. So I need to finish up the cranes so that I can make that wish. So I am making cranes as I'm doing like this little voiceover. This guy on the screen, this guy I was making, I don't remember what his name ended up being, Quentin, maybe? He was really hard to dress because his arms and his shoulders were just so broad that, like, his like, biceps and, like, triceps kept clipping with all the shirts I was putting him in. That was making it really hard to dress him because, that's, like, a really peculiar problem to have in a video game, is that the character doesn't like look exactly right. And I've had this problem with a couple of other Sims. Like sometimes I'll be like making the Sims in the giant household that I've been talking about sometimes. That's called a hall household. So sometimes the halls genetically when I was making them, would have like a giant butt or like giant boobs, and they just didn't look good in any clothes. So I actually had to like bring down the size a little bit, and that was always really funny because the halls are just naturally so curvy that I had to decrease like their proportions. And I always thought that was so humorous. I would send my sister Ella, I would send her like pictures of like me doing this, and she would also think it was so funny. And that was really funny. So when I make the children here, you can see, well, I mean, I kind of paused there for a second, but when I make them, I like to put them in teenage form first so that I can see what they're gonna look like when they're older, so that I don't have a bunch of, like, what I think of as, ugly or, like, less attractive Sims running around that I have the influence to create. So if I'm gonna make them, why don't I make them more, like, attractive and, like, not like a townie. So I take a look at, like, their teen face and, like, their teen body, and then I'll just randomize them until I get one that I like. I had a lot of trouble dressing the children because I don't really play with, well, I mean, I do play with children a lot, but I don't really care what they wear. And I do think that female Sims are a lot more interesting to dress than like the male Sims, just like with the clothing options. So I kind of rushed through some of these, and then even with like the children, I feel like they don't have a lot of clothing options, so I am just putting them in the same clothing every time. And I feel like I do that a lot with the cold weather outfits. When I have children in one of my main households, I'll put them in the same like cold weather outfit, which is the snow pants that are like the overall ones, and I'll just make it a different swatch. So when I'm making Sims that are not in my household, I try to give them different clothes. I used I used one of the seasons outfits for the cold weather outfit. Or I used a different ones, the seasons outfits for the cold weather outfit, so that I didn't use a swatch. Because even though it doesn't matter that I use a different swatch, I'm gonna know. Like, I am a very visual person, and if one of the Sims is wearing something that another Sim like typically wears, it throws me off a little bit when I'm playing with them. And I've talked about this before in some of my videos, where I can't have a Sim in the main household have the same hair as a previous heir to the household, and sometimes that kind of messes me up just a little bit with like the options that I limit myself to. Because even though I could use the same hair for the second time, I think it's a lot more fun to switch it up. So one way that I think I'm gonna make a lot more of these create a sim videos, especially when we get into the later generations, when Ivy and Irene age up, and then Irene's gonna, obviously she's not going to be part of the main household, or I mean she is, but she's not going to be the heir. I'm going to have that be Ivy. So when I move out Irene, I'll do this for her family too. I don't know if I'm gonna have Irene, if I'm like gonna pick someone for Irene and like have them move out together, or if I'm gonna just put Irene on her own and then make her a family in Create a Sim. I feel like the second option is a lot less work for me, but story-wise, it makes more sense for the first option to actually like play out her story. So there you can see I just finished Yuna's household, so I am going to move them into one of the other households on the lot. I do have to evict someone, like, so sorry, random people, but Lorelai's best friend has priority over you because, yeah. So then I go down and I have to find Presley so that I can put her in Create a Sim. And Presley is in the game when we were like playing with her in university. She randomized with the like the romantic and sexual orientation where she likes women only. So yeah, there I was checking on that. So I did end up giving her a wife, whereas you saw with Yuna, she did end up with a husband because she had the prefers men traits. I can't remember if that was in the video or not. It doesn't matter either way, but that's the one that she has. And I think it's really funny they added like sexual and like romantic interests or like preferences into the game, because previously it was just Sims by default are like bi, like kind of, and I think it's really funny that now they've just added straight Sims into the game. Because before they wouldn't like reject your advances on the and like on like the account of your Sims like gender or sex or whatever, and now they do, and I think that's really funny. Not just for like straight Sims, like when I was having Lorelai try and flirt with oh, what's her name, Yuna. I like tried to get them together for a while, and then it was like, yeah, Yuna likes guys. I'm like, oh, that's funny. So I think it's a little different when I play the game now. Like you kind of have to check. It's more realistic. God, I feel like I'm digging myself into a hole right now. I don't I don't have. You know what? Just reset. Look at this adorable outfit I put together for Presley's wife. Like you can go back and look at it. I used some of the stuff from the I don't even remember what that pack was called. Cottage Living. I used one of those shirts. I thought it looked really cute, and I wish I had that in real life. I did dress. I think her name ended up being Gabrielle or something. I dressed her up a lot more casual because she looks pretty chill. Look at her hair; that's adorable. She seems really low key, and I feel like that's good for Presley. Presley did reject Lorelai's advances when they were in university too, so I thought that giving her a spouse who looked and was like seemed a lot different than Lorelai did would be pretty realistic. And for Yuna's family, I gave them a child and a toddler because of the ages that my Sims children are, and I thought, you know, they can like grow up together and stuff. So I gave Presley's family, I gave them 2 children, I believe. Yeah, there's this first one. And then I gave them a second one, so we'll have to, I think we'll probably end up redoing Irene's, like, friends club, so that we can have, like, these children in them, because I think it would be really cute if Lorelai, like, if we can imagine that, Presley and Yuna had their kids a lot earlier, obviously because they're children, like back when, Laura and Miko were like trying for children, or like had children. I think that they could have been like friends, you know, they kind of could have like grown up together. We can pretend that happened. It's my story, so I can do what I want, and I'm gonna pretend that they like grew up together because that's really cute. You know, like you have the children at the same time, and the kids like know each other as babies and like toddlers and stuff. So I did have a little bit of trouble with this kid's name. His name ended up being Cohen. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I've seen a lot of names. Did I mention that I named over 2,000 Sims, all unique names, with the exception of Brianna 2, I believe. All unique names, and I'd never heard of the name Cohen. Even now, like, I will add to my notes app. On my notes app, I have a list of names for like Sims and other things. And periodically, when I find a new name that I like or like I haven't heard of before, I will add it to the list. So I think Cohen's gonna have to go on the list. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I just think that's such a funny name. I don't encounter a lot of new names a lot. You know, I have seen a lot of recently new sports, and not like recently, but the other day I was sitting in a dining hall and I saw another sport called, like, it was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a cross between soccer and ping pong, and I thought that was so interesting, and it looked really hard. But I've seen a couple of other new sports that like I haven't seen before. And I didn't even know that there were new sports like being created. I mean, it makes sense that there are. Okay, so this is getting towards the end. I make a mistake here, and I accidentally go back into Creative Sims for Presley's family. I leave immediately. So, yeah, I think I moved them into a lot on Headford on Bagley, so they can kind of live together on the farm. I feel like that would be really cute. We can imagine that Gabriella kind of came from that area, because she looks so chill. Alright, so I think this is about the end of the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you like videos like that so I can make more. I love making Sims and Creative Sim videos. And I think that's gonna be about it. Alright, leave a like and a comment. Alright, bye!